Hey guys, welcome back to Strong Enough to Age Well, episode 3. I am so excited to be here, and let me tell you, this specific episode resonates well with me. It is all about balancing strength, cardio, and recovery without burning yourself to the ground. Love this. You guys, a little confession time, because if balance came easy for us, most of us wouldn't have to listen to a podcast or, record a podcast about it. Balance is not easy. So I can assume if you're tuning in, that you're like me, and maybe you are the kind of women that can do hard things, but that's part of the problem. Women like us, we don't struggle with motivation. We struggle with restraint. We are really good at stacking hard things on top of hard things on top of hard things. And you know what we call it? Discipline. Ask me how I know. Glad you did. It's because I'm an ultra runner, running through the last 15 years, racing distances long enough that make perfectly sane people question my judgment. I get it. But listen, I've trained through all of these seasons for the last 15 or 20 years. So I've trained through my young seasons in my 20s while I was having babies. I have trained through the adolescent years of my kids, my career changes. I have trained through all the different things from farm life and motherhood and travel and working and tacking on all these different types of training to see what my body needs and how am I going to test myself differently now? How am I going to push myself to the new max? And somewhere along the way, I kind of learned a truth that didn't come as easy to me. And that is, just because you can push doesn't mean you always should push, especially midlife, guys. So most of us grew up in a fitness culture that told us cardio burns calories. If you want to burn all those calories, hit the cardio, right? Get on the treadmill, hit the elliptical. Or that hit is the most efficient thing you can do. Or the more you sweat, the better the workout is. Or some of us were taught that rest is just being lazy. If you don't feel up for a workout, you're just being lazy. You're not motivated enough or driven enough. Guys, adding strength training into all of that is just piling everything on, and that is what we tend to do. So now we get to take a step back, because when we lift too heavy and we run too far and we hit all these HIIT workouts and we never stop, that is where we get injured, we feel sore, our body's not responding the way we want it to, we're irritable, we're exhausted, but we're wired, and it's because we're doing it wrong. So your body is asking for a different kind of a balance. And what does that balance look like? So let's make this human instead of overly technical. I like to get really tied up into the technical or the scientific sides of this because that's how my brain works. And I have to remind myself that not everybody's brain works that way. So think of movement like a table. Strength training is going to be the legs of the table because it is the structure or the support. It's the thing that kind of keeps everything from collapsing. Cardio, like running, biking, swimming, that can be the tabletop. That's your endurance. For me, it's where I find my joy, my adventure, my performance. That's where all of that lives, is on the tabletop. And then recovery, this is the key. Recovery is going to be the screws and joints holding the whole thing together. They're invisible, they're underrated, but they're absolutely essential. For us in our 40s, strength training is our foundation. Recovery are the screws that hold everything we do together and keep us healthy and strong. And that cardio is where we live. It's the tabletop. It's where our performance and endurance is. It's where I find my joy. You can't remove any one of those pieces and expect stability. This is the key because we want balance. This is where historically we went wrong as women, is we made cardio the foundation. Cardio is incredible. It improves your heart health, your mitochondrial function, your oxygen delivery, your mental health, but it was never meant to carry the entire load. Strength training is what gives your body structural integrity. Here's why. When you're lifting weights or you're doing resistance-based movements, you're placing mechanical load on your bones and muscles. Mechanical loading simply means that your tissues are experiencing a little extra force, whether it's pulling or pushing or compressing against a form of resistance. Your bones are living tissue, and when they feel the load, specialized cells called osteoblasts get the message that says, hey, we need to get stronger, and your body responds by getting stronger. Your body lays down more bone mineral and increases your bone density which is improving your risk of osteopenia or osteoporosis. Crazy that our bones are able to build that density as we age. Without that signal, your bones don't maintain themselves. And that's why cardio alone, while amazing for your heart, doesn't do much for your bone health. It really doesn't even provide enough varied load or heavy load to tell your bones to adapt. Your muscle works the exact same way. It does a lot more than just making you feel strong. When we build muscle through strength training, you're improving your joint stability because your muscles are going to act like little active support systems. They absorb and control every movement before stress ever even reaches your joints, tendons, or ligaments. Strong muscles are going to keep your joints centered and moving in the way that they're designed to move, which is going to reduce your wear and tear over time. So cool, right? Having more muscle on your body. Oh, super fun fact too. Having more muscle on your body actually improves your blood sugar regulation. Crazy, because as we age, we don't regulate our blood sugar as well. So that muscle tissue, it's one of the primary places that your body stores and uses glucose. So when you have more muscle, you create a bigger sink for blood sugar, meaning that your body can clear the glucose from the bloodstream more efficiently. That's going to improve your insulin sensitivity. It's going to help stabilize your energy, your mood, your cravings, especially important in our midlife when our hormones are already crazy, right? The last point with it that I want to mention is force absorption. So every step that you take, every jump, every run, it sends a force through your body. Your muscle acts like little shock absorbers. Without enough muscle, that force gets passed directly to those joints and connective tissues. So with enough muscle, that force gets dissipated and controlled. Your body doesn't take a constant beating. A lot of people think as a runner that I'm tearing up my knees. I'm gonna need knee replacements, but it's not true. My knees are so strong, and it's because I make sure to build my muscle around them to keep them strong and healthy. So cardio gives you a strong body expression. Recovery gives it longevity. Cardio gives strong body expression. Recovery gives it longevity. I'm going to say that again and again. We want that longevity and we need that cardio, but we also need that strength training. Crazy, right? So running has been a part of my life for my entire adult life, really. I started running, oh my gosh, I was probably early 20s. Ran my first 5K when I was 8 months pregnant with my second daughter, my first official 5K. And I found a love of running. It is where I feel the closest to myself. It's where I can process my emotions. It's where my thoughts finally quiet down. I can just get in the zone of listening to my footwork, focusing on my breathing, and pushing my body. But strength training is what allows me to keep running so I'm not tearing down those joints in my knees. I lift weights so that my hips don't ache every time I get in and out of the car, so that my bones stay dense and resilient. I lift so I don't get sidelined again and again, wondering why my body's betrayed me, why I'm injured, why I have aches and pains, which I don't because I strength train. The one thing that I did have to reframe is that my body didn't ever betray me. It was just asking for support. When I stopped treating strength training like something that completed with my running, and I started treating it like something that I need to serve my running with, everything changes. So as you start looking at strength training differently, look at it as the support on why you get to do the other things and not something that you do together. My recovery is improving, my achiness has decreased, my running is smoother, and I'm a lot stronger. Mentally, I've also stopped feeling like I was constantly behind or failing at what I'm doing because I just can't keep up with what I once did. So now I want to segue that cardio tangent a little bit into HIIT training. I am a HIIT fitness coach, so I love HIIT workouts. They are probably some of my favorite kind of exercise to do. HIIT training can become too much though. Yep, I said it. HIIT training is kind of like hot sauce. A little can be great, but a lot every single day, you're probably going to end up regretting that. So the sciencey part behind it is that HIIT places a high demand on your nervous system, specifically your sympathetic nervous system. So that's the part that is responsible for fight or flight responses. During HIIT, your brain is sending rapid fire signals all through your body to create as many muscle fibers as possible, as fast as possible. Your heart rate spikes, your breathing ramps up, and your stress hormones like adrenaline and cortisol, which help you perform, so they rise to that level. But also, that's where the real problem comes in, because when our adrenaline and cortisol run too high for too long, it is no longer helping us, it is hurting us. So that signal that we get, that short burst, so great. When we're doing it every day, then our body's a little confused. It's going to give us a little bit of fight or flight too much, and living in that fight or flight is going to cause mental and emotional stress. It's going to disrupt your sleep, which I already mentioned that in episode 2, how important sleep is. Your hormonal changes that affect stress tolerance, they're going to be minimized and disrupted. And our endurance training and packed schedules already are going to suffer even more. HIIT layered on top of all of your things that you already have going on is going to make your nervous system stay stuck in that heightened state of alert. Instead of adapting, your body is now overstimulated. Oh, I find myself saying that word a lot in my adult life, overstimulated. But those HIIT workouts causing that overstimulation on your body is going to leave you feeling that kind of wired but exhausted feeling. You're going to have trouble sleeping. Even when you're tired, it's kind of like a baby that gets overtired and they just cry and cry, and you're like, would you just go to sleep and you'll feel so much better? Well, that's kind of how we become. Our brain doesn't shut off because we are overstimulated. We end up maybe a little more irritable, or maybe respond emotionally, like reacting instead of taking a few minutes to respond properly. We have that emotional reactivity that happens, and our slower recovery, lingering soreness. Soreness is not always a positive thing, and being sore doesn't mean that you had a good workout. I sometimes hit a great workout and I don't notice any soreness because I use proper recovery time. So we know motivation is not an issue for most women. It is a regulation issue. Strength training, when done with intention and adequate rest, challenges our body without constantly triggering that fight or flight. Walking, for example, activates the parasympathetic nervous system. This rest and digest state, where steady cardio supports heart health without overwhelming the system. HIIT has its place, but now in our 40s and 50s, it has to become more occasional and not constant, because we don't want to keep that constant trigger high. So, recovery, the thing that we all pretend that we're good at, but we're not. Let's talk a little bit about that. And I say this as someone with an extremely high tolerance for discomfort and a very low tolerance for sitting still or stretching or doing those recovery things. So, first, what recovery is not? Collapsing on the couch and scrolling your phone. Sorry, even though you're sitting down, that is not recovery. Your brain is still being overstimulated. Recovery is not ignoring pain. Recovery is not pushing through maybe because you once did or somebody else is. Recovery has to be intentional. For me, recovery looks like slowing down when I really don't want to, listening to my body and not my ego, a bubble bath with a glass of wine and a good book. Yeah, I know, don't tell my clients, but yes, a glass of wine and a good book, so relaxing for me. It is a way to make me sit and breathe, and usually it's the first time I'll do that all day. And recovery looks like choosing sleep over getting one more thing on my to-do list done. This in no way is laziness or weakness. This is where adaptation happens. Without recovery, your muscles cannot rebuild, your nervous system cannot regulate itself, and your hormones won't stabilize. No matter how hard you train, if you don't recover, you're missing all the benefits of your training. This matters deeply for women who feel deeply, love deeply, and carry emotional weight, not just physical stress, because our hormones are always going to be crazy, and that recovery time really brings that balance that we need. So what balance actually looks like? Balance doesn't mean equal time of recovery to equal time of strength training to equal time of cardio. No, balance means an appropriate time for each. So some seasons you'll run more, some seasons you'll lift more, some seasons walking is enough. The constant needs to be strength training. It stays in the picture 2 to 3 days a week. Recovery stays respected. We do it as much as we need it. Cardio becomes supportive, not punishing on our body, but supportive. It is not the foundation, but remember, it is that tabletop. The cardio is the life living part. I want to make this a little personal because it didn't come naturally to me. My life is full. As a personal trainer and fitness coach, I run the gym. I work a lot of hours. I'm also a mom of 4. I train consistently, trying to run 2 100-mile races a year. And I love to travel. I travel a lot. I work to travel. There are seasons where my calendar feels like a game of Tetris and I'm going to lose. Balance for me isn't a color-coded schedule where I follow everything and everything has a place that it fits in neatly. Balance is more like taking a step back and asking those hard questions like, what does my body actually need this week? Or how can I support instead of push today, right now, in this moment? And some weeks, that means I'm running a little bit less and I'm not following my training plan. Maybe I'm lifting a little more because my joints are feeling a little beat up. Other weeks, maybe it means I'm walking instead of forcing intensity because my nervous system is fried. Other weeks, I'm doing the bare minimum and trusting that my consistency over time matters more than a single workout. Other weeks, I'm able to hit those super long runs and my HIIT workout and I feel great and I'm recovering well. But the balance is what you need of knowing what your body needs in this moment. You don't need a perfect plan. You need permission to just adjust as needed. Remembering to ask yourself, how do I feel? What do I need right now? How are my knees? How are my hips? How's my heart rate? How's my resting heart rate? Is it high? Is it spiked? Is my HRV high right now or is it not? You need permission to adjust as needed and to not carry guilt for not sticking to the plan, because the plan needs to be, how do I feel? And am I sticking with my strength training? So something simple to leave you with that I would like you to carry into this week is, instead of asking, what workout should I do? Maybe ask, what's going to help my body feel the most supported today or this week? Not pushed, supported. Maybe that means lifting with intention instead of squeezing in another sweaty session. Maybe that means choosing a walk because your nervous system needs to quiet down. Maybe it means stopping a workout a little early and calling that a win. Maybe it means to push a little harder because you're feeling great. Maybe it means lifting with a little more intention. Or maybe it means doing a few extra sets. Your challenge for the week is to pick one, just one decision where you choose support for your body over intensity. This is hard, but I want you to be very specific and intentional with it. And I want you to pay attention to how your body responds. How does your energy feel after making that choice? Notice if your workouts start to feel a little more sustainable and a little more enjoyable, because they should. Our strength training should be enjoyable. We should love it. You guys, strength, cardio, and recovery are not things that you have to master perfectly into this color-coded schedule, but they're all tools that we get to use wisely. The real goal isn't about doing more. The goal is about keeping a body that you are building that keeps showing up for life today, tomorrow, and decades from now. This is how you train and stay strong and we age well. You guys stay tuned for episode 4. I cannot wait to see you then.